All right, we're going to try this now. Made a couple updates. This should be working. Should be getting able to hear me. And we should be good to go. All right, so I'm going to make this brief. All right, so there's a couple things I'm going to try and go over regarding jobs, right? Saw that the election had some interesting results. Candidate that a lot of people wanted to won. Obviously, that's why he won. And this is going to be a transition. We're going to try this now. What does that mean? That means a couple updates. This should be working. Switch in some priorities from the candidacy. It's like I should be calling right now, so I'll able to hear me. But I want to review something. All right, so I'm going to make this brief. So this is the list of. So there's a couple things I'm going to try and go over. All of regarding jobs. Build back better infrastructure. Saw that the election had some interesting results. Department of Interior, Department of State, Department of Infrastructure, and with this is Department of Interior. We're going to try this now, as well as that Bureau of Indian Affairs. That means but then also a lot of stuff that will be working by the switch in some priorities from the candidacy. There were about 63,000 right now, 68,000. But I want to review something. So I'm going to make this brief. So this is the list of IT, right? And you can see these ones highlighted green are the IT ones. Right, so we can go all the way down. Department of Homeland Security. Then you got FCC stuff. So some of this stuff is more infrastructure, right? But go all the way down, 73,000. Okay, but the ones we want to focus on are on these ones in the green. So I'm going to go over and show you what exactly I pulled out from this Excel table. This is by state. You'll see here. Scroll in a little bit. You'll see these are just the federal projects. That does not preclude anything else that might be private sector related. So you can see there's a lumber of Washington, North Dakota, Kentucky, Colorado, North Carolina, Nevada, Nebraska. All right. So do a little highlight. Focus scale. All right. So when it's red, you'll see it's blue. Right. So these are just the federal ones. Okay. Move over to this column Y. You see, I got this out by county, state. See again the total counts per, and then you'll see what this is based on: resilience. A lot of this is infrastructure resilience, right? And you'll see some exceptions like transportation. Go down here a little bit. Broadband resilience, right? But what is this actually going to? Okay, Diversity Cyber Council in Fulton, Georgia. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, a lot of resilience, right? A lot of this is going to be moved in here. And go all the way back. You'll see the project names in columns AD through, go down. Hardware, software. Oops. Scrolled out a little bit too much. Okay, all the way to columns BE, right? So AD, so 28 items for this one. That might not even be. Is that the largest one? Yeah, that might be the largest one. That is based in King, Washington. Okay, so there's just a lot of stuff that's going on here. All right, and let's scroll in a little bit to see what this is. Right, so you'll see this in here, so you can see county and state, and you can see what's over here. Right, so addressing cyber risks, cybersecurity assessments, Azure. .gov name online management, secure core for MFA for cybersecurity, cyber maturity assessments, right? Look at this courthouse, NIST cyber program training. It's going to be important, especially if you're doing DevOps, DevSecOps. Price City data on cloud backup, right? So these are a lot of things that are coming in to harden the infrastructure so that they can move either fully away from data centers, like local data centers, or having a hybrid situation where you have some information on cloud and on your local data center, right? Which cloud is basically a huge data center, right? So you can see all this stuff, right? So it's in about 170 counties throughout the country, all right? Look at all this. Commonwealth Office of Technology, statewide cybersecurity enhancements for the state of Kentucky, right? Thing is, these are not going to all be this cybersecurity framework. These are all going to be things that are going to be available either remotely or hybrid, or in person, right? It doesn't state exactly what is going to be for the opportunity, but this is giving you an idea of what's going to be out there, or what is out there, right? So as far as the Biden administration, they initialized 500 billion. 500 million was already guaranteed. Now, what's going to happen is the first 100 days of the Trump administration, this is going to be one of the things that's addressed. I think it's going to keep going because they already know that we're behind China, right? We're behind a lot of people that might want to cause us harm as far as our infrastructure. So this is going to be a big priority for any administration. So I'll suggest studying as hard as you can to get above, right? And this was downloaded from whitehouse.gov. I did the manipulations myself. You can see, the sort and all this stuff here, right? Um, Going to the next piece. All right. Okay. So this is something that you need to look at. This is that map visualized, right? But let me go back to the beginning. These are the mega regions of the US. If you live in America, these are the areas of commerce that are most effective for most people, right? And oops, let's scroll back. All right, so you can see like this little circle here. There's not a lot of commerce because there's just not a lot of people in Alaska, right? If you look at the state of Florida right here, the Charlanta, Huntsville region right here, right? All of this stuff is connected by a lot of our infrastructure, a lot of people who have a lot of business activities. You can think of all the rail lines that come in from all the way up here in Portland, down through Boston, New York, Philadelphia, DC, Richmond, Raleigh, and then it does split over to Charlotte, right? But then we have also airports. We have all this other information. There's just a lot that can go right that if you do this route, you will have some success. All right. So, but what does this mean? Like, what does this really mean? All right. So, regarding this first map, the mega regions are basically how are you going to look at tech and how are you going to look at this country, right? So, you can look at the main region of the Pacific Northwest, call that Cascadia, right? This can be Portland, your Seattle, Bend, Eugene, right? Then you'll have your Northern California. This is a traditional tech hub, right? This is where some of the people in the class live. So you have Marin County, San Jose, all the way out to Oakland, and it stretches down to Fresno. There is some connection between a lot of this because a lot of this place will be foreign land, but a lot of them have e-commerce or they have infrastructure or databases that need to be managed. Then you have the Southern California. That's probably the second biggest as far as commerce in the country, behind the Boston, Washington. That's going to be your basically Santa Barbara down to San Diego, right? There's going to be a lot of defense down here. There's going to be a lot of, gosh, anything you can think of is going to be able to store information. Your Tucson, Phoenix, that is going to be a little bit of banking, but not a lot. But there will be some EV stuff. There will be some battery tech. It's going to be interesting. The Dallas Triangle, also, you're going to have defense. You're going to have oil and gas. You're going to have a lot of hub as far as railroad information. Um, and then especially this Gulf Coast, a lot of oil and gas. A lot of that information is going to have to be stored as well. Florida, you're talking commerce, you're talking entertainment. A lot of this stuff is going to be able to transition as well. I think for me, the biggest ones are this Charlanta, right? Because over here on Birmingham area, you have a lot of defense because NASA and a lot of defense contractors are out here in the Birmingham, Huntsville area. And then Atlanta has a lot of finance, banking, um, and a lot of air travel, tourists, and like transportation. Charlotte, also a lot of banking, a lot of commerce, up to Raleigh Durham, which has a lot of research with the triangle, right? You just have a ton of stuff, right? In the upper Midwest, we'll have a lot of commerce, a lot of mercantile stuff, especially coming up from these areas around Green Bay, Milwaukee, Detroit, that have a lot of natural resources that need to be exchanged, right? So you'll have a financial hub, you'll have a commerce hub here. And then obviously DMV up to New York, you're talking defense, biopharmaceuticals, up to finance, pharmaceuticals, and same in Boston, right? So you have a variety of stuff that's going to happen. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So this is the type of stuff that's going to be done in these areas. And this is just a snapshot from the private investment, right? So this gives you a taste of what's going on. So a lot of this, that green, you see that everywhere? There's a lot of clean power. What does that mean? Is it going to be nuclear? Is it going to be wind? Is it going to be gas, natural gas? Like green power is a very broad term. Then you also have a lot of heavy industry. How's that information going to be tracked? How's it going to be managed? How's it going to be handled by your technical people and the applications here? right? And then you have your biomanufacturing. You see all this orange that I was pointing out earlier, Raleigh, Durham, looks like the DMV area, Boston, Washington, some in Los Angeles, some in the upper Midwest. And then you have your batteries and EV. That's going to be your Dallas, what do you call it? Your Dallas, Houston, what do you call it? Denver area, and Utah, right? And then some in I guess this would be Fremont slash Reno, and some in the Bay Area, right? So that's your clean energy. Semiconductors, right? I was talking about that a little bit earlier. Looks like the San Francisco area, um, the Eugene, Portland, that neck of the woods, over in this Tucson, Phoenix area, and then Dallas, the Dallas, Houston, Austin triangle, right? And then some over here as well in this Charlotte adjacent region. So you have a lot of different types of tech investment that are going to be going here, but these are five major categories, right? Um, let me go back here. Let me go back. What did I want to finish something? Well, you're going to see. All right, let's put it in five places, right? So the Northeast, you're going to have heavy concentration of all of them, right? Mix of semiconductors, clean energy. Southeast is going to be EV, battery, clean energy, trying to grow, and biotech. Midwest, you're going to see that basically, the Rust Belt is going to try and evolve the battery and EV production. They're going to go for clean power infrastructure, right? And then the Western, that's going to be your innovation zones, right? So you're talking about clean power, semiconductors, and a slow growing biotech industry. So for this, these are going to result in a lot of jobs that could come into anybody in the tech industry. So remote work is going to be very possible. So the needs for these facilities, they're going to mean sustained IT demand. And considering cloud is only at 10% saturation, that's going to be a huge grow up in the IT field. And this is the last one. This is the last 3 months of hiring in IT, or basically the cloud and the DevOps and the DevSecOps, right? And look at how those overlap. These are where the people are. These are where the jobs are, right? Look at it. These are where the people are. These are where the jobs are. All right. These are the last 3 months, right? So what does this mean? This means there's concentration in the Northeast, Pacific Northwest, California, Southeast, Upper Midwest, Florida, Dallas, Houston, Austin Triangle, and you have pockets in Colorado, Utah, Arizona, right? And there's other jobs as well throughout the Midwest, but this is where we see these concentric rings where they're growing and growing and growing. That's where the biggest amount of jobs are, right? So there's emerging tech corridors. There's already established corridors, but this is going to be very well aligned with DevOps, DevSecOps, and cloud infrastructure and security and all the type of systems that they're going to need in order to facilitate this type of growth. So the geographic alignment is going to be really good with job openings. There's going to be a correlation between them. This is going to mean everything from clean energy, manufacturing, semiconductors, biotech, and there's going to be growth in these industries. So if you get an offer to work hybrid in some area, like, if you're doing fintech, that's going to be much more likely just because they want people on site. Because if there's an issue, you're going to have to live in Charlotte. That's not too bad. You got a good airport, you can travel overseas for, a weekend or, 4 days a week, whatever. If you want to do something that's more health tech, education tech, you might have a lot more opportunity to work remote. So you have to figure out where you want to prioritize. So here's a couple of last takeaways. Did I have that here? Okay, boom. So key takeaways. Look at your geographics. Look at the industry drivers. Look at the future growth, and then look at your strategic career planning. So this is I'll put the sources in when I publish this, and then you can take a look at them yourself. But I also have them here, right? So a lot of this is coming. The Wikipedia, that was just a map of the mega regions, so you could get that in your head. And then you have a lot of this coming from the White House, whitehouse.gov, right? Commerce.gov, U.S. Department of Transportation, State Department, Department of the Interiors, Education Department. This is what's going on. So a big thing is we're going to check back this in 100 days. And that is going to be where you're going to see whether this is a high priority, medium, or low priority with the new Trump and Vance administration. Because I think it is, and I think they're going to continue. So I said 500 billion has already been earmarked, 500 million has already been handed out. And that's going to mean a lot of opportunity. So that's going to be public private partnership. So keep your ears pierced. We're going to check back in on this 100 days from January. That will probably be mid-April. So yeah, January 20th to April 16th to 20th. That's my guess. And then so we'll check back on this at that. I think I have this open. Don't see any questions. So I'm going to end this stream. I'm going to tell you, keep studying. Get your scaling groups up, learn what you need to go, and do some labs. There's going to be a lot of money out there. All right, that's all I got to say today.